If you have a website, there are three main reasons why people go to your website and then leave right away. But I want to tell you guys how to solve that. Hey, what is up, guys? This is Harrison Barron from HarrisonBarron.com. And like I said, we're covering the three main ways that people are leaving your website. There's actually really only three categories that I've discovered. Everything else falls into these three categories. Now, the third one is probably the most important, so you're going to want to stick around for that one if there's anyone that you really want to listen to. Number one, right off the bat, is a poor user experience and load speed. I've preached load speed multiple times now, but you need to have a fast load speed and you need to have a good experience. Think about it, right? If you go to a restaurant, you go to a store, you go anywhere, if it's a bad experience, you're never gonna go back. On average, if people have a bad experience, they tell about 11 people. But if people have a phenomenal, I mean like the perfect, over-the-top experience, they typically only tell about 3 people. Isn't that kind of crazy if you really think about it? But this doesn't just go with your page speed. It goes with your user experience. Your design is really poor. Your mobile version is awful. Most people are on mobile nowadays. You have to make sure that your website is a great representation of your business, and by doing that, you want to make sure that you have a great mobile layout. And then, honestly, lack of navigation. Think about everyone's favorite store, IKEA. If you've ever been there, believe it or not, as crazy as it is, their navigation is pretty good, because if it wasn't good, nobody would ever shop there, right? They have those little signs everywhere. They have a little walking path to show you, like, hey, if you want to leave, this is what you got to do, right? They have a great navigation system. They have definitely mastered it. Same thing with your website. You got to make sure that you have a great experience, a great navigation, and also lose all the technical jargon. Think about your customer, right? That is going to confuse somebody, and it's just going to make sure that they have a really bad experience if there's too much technical jargon that they wouldn't care about. Number 2, they don't trust you and they could care less about your business. You have no authority, right? Nobody knows who you are. You've worked so hard. You've probably put in tons of time making content. You've hired a great website developer. Shout out to my agency, Growth Generators, always linked down below. But you've put all of this effort and work into your business, and then you don't have any authority. You have no trust, right? These are things that are super, super important. So what makes an authoritative or trustworthy site? Get some testimonials on there. Believe it or not, a professional design actually helps quite a bit, because it just shows that that company either took the time to build it themselves or hire somebody that knows what they're doing. I know it sounds kind of weird, but that's realistically, right? Think about it. If you go to a store and you're like, why is this dilapidated? Or, oh my God, this is beautiful, right? Think about Chipotle. Regardless of how good the food is, every single store looks beautiful, as opposed to a mom and pop that was strapped together on a budget. Now, I'm not hating on those people, but I get it. It's difficult. It's not easy. But in the virtual world, it's very easy to have an authoritative website and a trustworthy website that actually builds customer confidence, right? It has to have a good personality. It's really got to feel like that company that's their best version of themselves, right? That online version, and there's a clear focus to it, right? Because if there's no clear focus, nobody's going to trust you and nobody's going to have any authority, right? We know Wikipedia as being the source for history and news and kind of anything going on that's really noteworthy that needs to be archived in the internet, right? But if you went to everybody'sgotaguy.com, and I don't know if that's a real website, well, who cares if everybody's got a guy.com or I got a guy.com, right? Like, it just doesn't make sense. There's no authority there. But if you were like soundproofing.com, right, you'd probably expect them to have everything that there is to know about soundproofing, right? And they're probably gonna have it as long as they have a good website, some good navigation, a good experience, and it looks professional, right? And there's some knowledge on there, which is gonna lead into my third point, but there's some knowledge on there that proves that they actually know what they're doing. This is the difference. But if you just go to like, hey, we sell everything.com, right, with the exception of Amazon, but Amazon actually started with books, right? Too many people are trying to be too many things to everybody. Be one thing really good to that one person, and you'll build that trust and build that authority really, really quickly. Number 3, which I've already hinted at, but you're not putting enough information. You need to have good and relevant information. So this is where your content creation is going to start coming into play. This is where your SEO is going to start coming into play. This is where a full formatted and fully built out homepage and other pages on your website are really going to come into play. What does your company do? Who do you help? How can somebody hire you, right? Give us some testimonials, how we do what we do, why we do what we do, right? Proven results, maybe some science behind everything that you're doing. These are going to make your website that third tier and really build the other two, that great customer experience and that trust and authority, right? Because if you have great content, who wouldn't want to believe you? Now, if you have really, really good content and you're an expert in an industry and you don't have the best looking website, you could probably get by, right? This is how all those old WordPress websites were made. MySpace was something similar to this, where you could have all the content about you. This is where the content is king. You have to have that level of information that somebody really wants. You could sell rocket ships, right? But if you don't have any proof in doing what you do, who cares? So you can start writing articles, you can start making videos, you can start doing and making and giving out this information that is going to help that visitor get the answers they need. Now, whether or not they buy, you could go watch my last video about why people aren't buying on your website, but you need to lock in these three: that good customer experience with a super fast load speed. It's so critically important. Number two, that lack of trustworthiness and authority. You gotta lock those in. Those are probably the two. And the third one that's really gonna tie it all together is just adding the appropriate information, and make sure it's not dry. Make sure that, yes, you want somebody to read it, but you want them to get the answers that they're really looking for. Not just spitballing or giving away some basic information that they could find anywhere. You really have to give the best information out there. And when you do, not only is Google gonna reward you, but people are gonna start reaching out. It literally happens at my agency all the time. Between our content and now our YouTube channel that's starting to grow, people are constantly visiting us and asking for assistance, because we knocked out all three of those: that good experience, right? Load speeds, that trustworthiness and authority, and we're constantly putting out good information out there that will genuinely help people's businesses, just like this channel as you're watching right now. These are so critically important for you, your business, and if you solve all three of these, I can almost guarantee the amount of people leaving your website is going to go down drastically. It is going to help you get so much more authority, and when you start to follow all of these three things, you could really start to be proud of everything that you're doing. So I hope you guys found value in this video. Hope you guys implement all three. If you guys have questions, comments, leave them down below. I think I've earned a like button. I'm hoping that you're going to turn that little thing blue right now. And other than that, I love you guys. I'll see you guys later.